Hi everyone. Imagine this, the year is 1906, the dawn of the 20th century, a time when steel and steam were beginning to challenge the ancient power of wind and sail. In this era of transformation, in the German shipyards of Bremerhaven, a true leviathan was born. A ship that was destined to become a king of the oceans. Its name was R.C. Rickmers, a five-masted steel giant, nearly 150 meters long. That's taller than the famous Notre-Dame Cathedral in Paris. Now imagine this massive vessel carrying almost 6,000 square meters of sail spread across the sky. But today I'm not just telling you the story of another sailing ship, this is the story of a phantom ship. A wandering giant whose life was filled with records, incredible coincidences, and an ending unlike that of almost any other vessel in maritime history. So let's begin. February 8, 1906. Bremerhaven, Germany. From the slipways of the company Rickmers Reismullen Reederei und Schiffbau AG emerges a vessel that will astonish the world. The most striking thing about this ship is its scale. Her displacement exceeded 11,000 tons. She carried 5 towering masts and 38 enormous sails. Thanks to these impressive figures, from 1907 to 1911 R.C. Rickmers proudly held the title of the largest sailing vessel in the world. And yet, hidden within this marvel was a paradox. Despite her enormous sail area, which allowed her to reach speeds of up to 17 knots, an extraordinary performance for a sailing vessel of the time, many sailors jokingly called her a sailing steamer. Why? Because deep inside her steel hull the engineers had installed a powerful 1,160 horsepower steam engine. This ship was a hybrid, a bridge between two eras, the age of wind and the age of fuel. She could travel under sail alone, or use her propeller powered by steam when the wind failed. The coal bunkers were even intentionally reduced in size so that the ship could carry more cargo, up to 8,000 tons of rice, coal, or nitrate. In other words, she was designed to be the perfect workhorse of global trade. Her maiden voyage carried her from Bremen to Saigon and Bangkok, sailing around the harsh waters of Cape Horn. After that, her journeys stretched across the globe: Singapore, Japan, the west coast of the United States, Australia, and Chile. In just the first 2.5 years of service, R.C. Rickmers traveled more than 100,000 nautical miles, the equivalent of sailing around the Earth at the equator 4 times. The R.C. Rickmers linked during her career mostly Europe with the west coasts of South and North America and East Asia. On her way east, she usually transported coal from Wales. And on her way back she carried rice, the main import carried out by the Rickmers Company. The company decided to use only steam ships from 1911 on, but found no buyer for this ship. For that reason, she was transformed into a school ship between 1913 and 1914. And then, great politics suddenly intervened in the ship's fate. August 1914. The beginning of the First World War. Our giant was lying in the British port of Cardiff, loading coal. But there was a problem. She was a German ship. And that meant, an enemy. The British Admiralty seized the vessel as a war prize. The Green German was repainted, given a new name, Neath, and soon a British flag was flying from her mastheads. But here the story takes on a strange mixture of comedy and tragedy. The British crew that came aboard had absolutely no idea how to handle this 5-masted monster. Historians note that the defeated German sailors had to remain on board for some time and actually teach their captors how to operate such an enormous and complex vessel. Then came March 27, 1917. The Atlantic Ocean, about 28 miles from the Irish coast near Fastnet Rock. The ship, now called Neath, formerly R.C. Rickmers, was returning to France carrying a cargo of sugar. Suddenly, a shadow appeared in the periscope of the German U-boat U-66. Under the British flag, the ship looked like an enemy transport. The commander made his decision. A torpedo fired. Explosion. The enormous ship, built by the finest engineers of Germany and named after the family that created her, began to sink beneath the waves. But the most astonishing and tragic detail of this story comes in its final moments. Every member of the crew survived. However, according to reports, the captain of the vessel was taken prisoner by that very same German submarine, U-66. Think about the strange irony of this moment. A German submarine sinks a German-built ship. And the victorious German commander takes aboard a captured British captain, a man who, only a few years earlier, had sailed under the German flag himself. Such was the fate of this extraordinary vessel. A record-breaking ship once called the King of the Oceans. A ship that traveled thousands upon thousands of miles across the world's seas. And yet in the end, she was destroyed by what could almost be called a friendly torpedo. Next, we will take a closer look at the technical anatomy of the ship, her design, her structure, and the engineering that made R.C. Rickmers one of the most fascinating sailing vessels ever built. But what made this ship so special? To understand the ship, you must first understand the family behind it, the Rickmers. The story begins with Rickmers, who founded the company back in 1834. When the elder Rickmers passed away in 1886, his son Peter took the helm of the company. And he had a radically different vision from his father. Peter was a modernist, an industrialist convinced that the future would be forged in steel. He immediately began transforming the family shipyard in Bremerhaven, switching from wood to modern iron and steel shipbuilding. The R.C. Rickmers, launched in 1906, was the culmination of his vision. It was named after his father, Rickmer, using his initials, R.C. Peter Rickmers and his shipyard, employing over 650 people, set out to build the ultimate cargo carrier for their primary business, the global rice trade. So, what did they build? They built a 5-masted steel barque. At 441 feet long, with a beam of over 53 feet, and a displacement when fully loaded of a staggering 11,360 tons, this was a floating warehouse. But to carry that much, sacrifices had to be made. The designers made a radical choice. They reduced the size of the coal bunkers. The steam engine was not meant to be the primary power source. It was an auxiliary. The R.C. Rickmers was, first and foremost, a sailing ship, and every inch of space not used for coal was space for profit-generating cargo. Now, let's dive into the engine room and the rigging, because this is where the R.C. Rickmers truly broke the mold. Some sailors jokingly called it a sailing steamship. Here's why. Hidden in its hull was a powerful, 1,160 horsepower triple expansion steam engine. This wasn't a token motor. It could drive the ship at a steady 8 knots without sails, and 6 to 7 knots when fully laden. This was a game changer. It meant the ship could enter and leave crowded harbors without expensive tugboats. It could make headway through the dreaded doldrums, those windless equatorial zones where traditional sailing ships could be stuck for weeks. When the wind did blow, the R.C. Rickmers was a thing of beauty. It spread an astonishing 50,000 square feet of canvas across its 5 masts, carrying 38 to 40 individual sails. Why 5 masts? And why exactly 38 sails? Steamships were rapidly taking over the oceans, but sailing ships still had one enormous advantage: they did not need fuel. Wind was free. And for long cargo voyages, that meant lower operating costs. But there was a problem. Traditional sailing ships required very large crews to handle their sails. The bigger the ship, the more sailors were needed to climb the rigging, set the canvas, and control the lines. engineers at the Rickmers shipyard tried to solve this problem with a clever design. Instead of building a vessel with only 3 or 4 extremely tall masts, they chose a different approach: 5 masts with a carefully balanced sail plan. By spreading the sail area across more masts, each individual sail became easier to handle. This meant that a smaller crew could manage a very large ship. The result was remarkable. Nearly 6,000 square meters of sail, divided among 38 sails, could still be controlled by a relatively modest crew. This allowed it to reach speeds that would shame many steamships of the era. On its maiden voyage, it was recorded achieving over 17 knots under sail alone, and it could maintain a cruising speed of 13 to 14 knots for long periods. A ship this size would, in the past, have required an enormous crew. But the RC Rickmers was built for efficiency. It featured the latest in labor-saving devices. Things like steam-powered winches and capstans meant that a small team of around 45 men could handle the work that would have required over 80 on a ship just half its size a generation earlier. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle: the complexity. The RC Rickmers was so advanced, so perfectly optimized by the Germans for their specific needs, that it became a nightmare for anyone else to operate. When World War I broke out in 1914, our giant was seized as a prize in Cardiff, Wales. It was renamed the Neath and put under the British flag. On paper, it was a fantastic acquisition for the war effort. In reality, it was a floating puzzle box. The new British crew were seasoned sailors, no doubt. But they had never seen a ship like this. The RC Rickmers was not just big, it was a complex system. Its rigging, designed for a small, efficient German crew, was configured differently. The integration of the steam engine with the sailing operation required a specific knowledge that simply didn't exist in the British merchant marine. For a time, the British sailors were students on their own prize, being taught by their prisoners how to set the sails, how to manage the auxiliary engine in conjunction with the wind, and how to handle the unique quirks of this German engineering marvel. The story, as we know, ends in tragedy. The ship that Peter Rickmers built, the ship that was a symbol of German engineering prowess, was sent to the bottom by a German weapon. The ultimate irony. Today, the RC Rickmers rests on the floor of the Atlantic Ocean. It was a bridge between 2 eras, between the age of wind and the age of steel and steam. A testament to the bold vision of a family that believed the future of shipping could be larger, stronger, and more ambitious than ever before. For a time, she held the title of the largest sailing ship in the world. But the RC Rickmers was more than just a record holder. She was one of the most advanced sailing machines ever to cross the 7 seas, a floating symbol of an era when human engineering was pushing the limits. Thanks for watching.